Homeless, the couch surfing.
Oh, we had an increase of $100 weekly.
I was relieved that it was only 12%, and that is just crazy.
Here in Town Hall today at a rent rally to ask people why they're here and what they would like to see change.
So my landlord, they've already paid off their mortgage. They're not actually facing any increased interest rates, but they just decided, oh, well, the property market says that I can increase your rent, and what are you going to do?
I got evicted for no grounds a couple of years ago, and it took me 2 months between getting kicked out of that house and finding a new one.
I was contacted yesterday by someone who is going to be thrown out of their home on 1 day's notice.
I think the government should impose rent freezes. In fact, they should impose caps on rents.
End the tax concessions for wealthy landlords.
A freeze on rental prices.
You can see how much rents have increased beyond just the consumer price inflation. So it's clearly a choice, I think, by property developers and the rich to take advantage of this situation.
The fact that you have to choose between filling up your car and buying vegetables is pretty confronting.
I'm 35 years old. I'm sleeping on a mattress on the floor at my friend's place because it's impossible to get a rental or it's way too expensive. And my only options are sleep in my car, sleep on the floor at my friend's house, or try and find a room in a share house if I can afford it, if there's any available. Knowing my luck, I'll end up with some fucking weirdos. How are those my only options? How are those the only options of many Australians right now? Before anyone says, you're 35, why don't you own a house? I did own a house in my 20s. I owned a house with my ex for 6 years. We bought at a good time in 2012. Then we split. He paid me out. It wasn't enough to then go and buy another property. So I think I'm just going to have to start applying for rentals, like 1-bedroom apartments. I don't mind living in a tiny 1-bedroom apartment, but having to pay $500 a week is fucked. I earn an average wage, but I can't afford that.
If you're planning to move to Australia, I believe it's important for you to know that Australia is in the middle of housing and cost of living crisis. I don't usually talk about this because it's really stressful, but I think it's important for you to know and consider this before you make any decision. The cost of goods are going up because of inflation, but what's hurting the most is the endless interest rate hikes. Whether you're paying a mortgage or rent, the interest rates went so high that people are paying more than $1,000 a month on their mortgage repayments or their rent. At the start of 2022, we were paying $3,600 a month, and now we're close to paying $5,000 each month on our mortgage repayments. And there's a lot of us who are on the same boat. Even landlords are unable to keep up that they need to increase their rental fees. Hearing stories of people who are now paying $300 more a week on their rent. $300 a week, that's $1,200 a month. God. Whilst some people are able to manage this crisis, some are unable to and are forced out of their property. I don't mean to stress or scare you. I'm just telling you the current situation. So before you go here, please do your research and secure your accommodation if you can. If you can stay with a friend or a family member, that would be good because it's very hard to find a rental property, especially near the city, and it's very expensive. I hope you like this content and I hope you're not confused.
$21 an hour working 40 hours a week.
This woman says she gets paid $21 an hour and she still cannot afford to live in Ontario. That's pretty sad. And that's pretty much anywhere you go in GTA right now. You have to live literally somewhere in some farmland 2.5 hours from Toronto to maybe get a basement apartment to live. Recently I saw a post that said Canada is the second best country to live in. Yeah, tell this girl that. We need to make Canada affordable again. Now winter is coming, and if more people get kicked out of their houses and shelters are gonna be full, it's gonna be a fucking nightmare. The government won't do shit. I guess one solution is to learn French, and they're a little cheaper right now, so I'm coming to rent your apartment.
I'm nearly 27 years old, and today I am moving back in with my parents. This is not the plan I had for 27-year-old me, but that is just how bad the rental crisis is at the moment. I've been living on my own for the last 3 years. When I first started living on my own, I was paying $280 a week in rent. It was actually kind of fine to pay rent on my own, and I've never had like an outstanding salary. why I'm moving back in with my parents is because my landlord wanted to increase my rent now to $450 a week. Now, I live in a small one-bedroom apartment in an old building. It's nothing flash. Sure, I live in a good suburb. I live in Malvern. I'm probably just paying for location, but I have to pay to do my laundry. There's cracks in the walls. Like, it's nothing flashy. Like, it's not worth $450 a week. That's like $2,000 a month. What are people supposed to do? I'm so lucky and I'm so grateful that I can move back in with my parents, but not everyone can do that. So what's your alternative? Like, you're homeless? The thing that really grinds my gears is that I am 99% sure that my landlord does not have a mortgage on this place, so that can't even be an excuse for landlords on here. She's owned this place since about 1980, and I know for a fact she has 2 investment properties. So she's just making money off what she can from the market. And I was like, there is no way I can afford this. And I have been an outstanding tenant, like outstanding. Rent's never been late. My inspections are always absolutely spotless. I've never caused any issues. And this is why my generation can't get ahead, why we can't buy houses. Like, I've been paying 20 grand a year in rent. But if I went to go get a house loan, they wouldn't see that as, oh, she can pay 20 grand a year. No, I have no savings because of how much I've been paying in rent and bills. That's why my parents were like, move home, you know, save that money and try and get ahead. Like, I'm so grateful. I love my family, and I don't have any issues moving back home with them. I do have an issue with the fact that they live over the other side of Geelong and I'm still going to be travelling to Melbourne for work. So that's going to be so much fun. But what do people do? I'm so lucky I have such a great family that I can move back in with, but what's the alternative? Homelessness? Like, the government really needs to get on top of this, because honestly, the state of the rental market at the moment is absolutely fucked.
This is so true. The wage is so much better over here for like most jobs. My partner's on more than what he was on as a like gas engineer plumber on an unskilled labour job here, because it's a casual role. Obviously doesn't get the benefits and security of a full-time job, but for the time being it's really good. I'm on like probably quadruple my wage what I was on when I was in a sales job in England. You get paid extra for like holidays, you get paid extra for like overtime, like it's really good. Like time and a half your wage. Groceries I'd probably say about the same price. Depends what you buy. If you buy like seasonal fruit and veg, if you buy things that are on offer, then it's definitely cheaper. Just depends you've got the sense of I can't comment on petrol because I don't drive on road, so I have no idea. But I have heard in some states like they're doing certain days of the week that the petrol is cheaper, which I don't know. I know that was a thing when I was in Perth, Western Australia. But yeah, eating out's definitely more affordable. Utilities, that's not included in my rent, so again I can't say. But obviously you don't have to pay council tax and stuff here where you do in England, which can be quite expensive depending on the size of your house. So yeah, I think it all swings around, but I'm personally definitely finding it cheaper.
The price of rent in Australia will shock you, because it shocked me whenever I first discovered how much it was. And let me just tell you, it is not cheap to live in Australia. Now obviously the price of rent is going to vary depending on which city you choose to settle down in and whereabouts in that city you choose to settle down in. I personally live in the eastern suburbs of Sydney. I appreciate that Sydney is one of the more expensive parts of Australia, so the figures I am going to give are based off what I've experienced here in Sydney, but I do have mates that live in Melbourne who live in Perth, and they have said that rent prices are much of a muchness. They are somewhat cheaper in those two cities compared to Sydney, but there might be $50, $75 in the price. So living in Sydney, I would personally say do not expect to pay anything less than $300 a week. And if you were to find anything at $300 a week, I think it would be an absolute miracle. As I would say, most rent prices vary somewhere between $375 a week to about $500 a week. Now obviously there's things that are more expensive, up towards $600, $700 a week, like, but most people would not be paying that here. You can find things in around $400, $450. I'm currently paying $400 a week right now, and in my new place I'm moving into tomorrow, I will be paying $425 a week. So it is very, very expensive. It's a lot of money, but the only thing I would say is that wages here are considerably higher than home, so it sort of evens itself out in a way. You're getting paid more, so you pay more, but that would probably be my estimate in average rent prices. Maybe in Melbourne you might pay $250 a week, and that is each, by the way. That is not for an entire apartment, that is each. So if there's 3 people in the house, you're paying $300 a week each. That's $900. So just keep that in mind. If I'm wrong, feel free to correct me, but that is what I've discovered since living here.
Australia's housing crisis continues to worsen. According to the ABC, a person or couple would need to earn an amount of $175,440 per year to afford the median house in Brisbane. Sydney, which now according to Forbes is the second most unaffordable city in the world, requires $238,000 to buy the median home. Keep in mind that these figures behind me are after tax and based on a home loan deposit of 20%. ABS figures state the mean income of all working Australians is just under $75,000 a year. That figure is without tax, meaning the average Aussie couple cannot afford the average home in a capital city that's not Hobart or Darwin. And even Hobart's a bit of a stretch. Sure, they could buy a home below that average, but there's a few problems with that. Firstly, that includes homes that are so cheap because they are straight up unlivable. Secondly, a majority of these homes are in areas with few amenities and poor public transport. Sure, the average Aussie couple could afford a home in Schofields, a suburb in Sydney's northwest, but with that would require a 2-hour return trip commute to the CBD and back. The CBD, of course, is the place where the job's paying $75 grand a year are. As often repeated by the people directly causing the problem, maybe if these people can't afford to live in the city, they should move to the country where there's plenty of houses in their price range. Sure, they can afford it with their current job in the city, but what is someone with a business degree going to do for work in Wagga, let alone Cobar? So you've overcome that hurdle and you've found a nice place within your budget. Have you saved up enough for a deposit? No? Why? Because you can't save that amount in a reasonable time when you're paying off someone else's home loan.
A show of hands, who else is looking for a rental right now? Me. I know it's not anything new, but we've been in our house for 4 years, so this has been a real shock to us. With a backstory, the owner sold the house, the new owners are moving in, so we have to get out. It's my responsibility to put a roof over my family's head. My husband works from home, so we need internet, we need a roof for income to keep coming through. The stress is, oh my god, it's building. I guess I'm just filming this so I don't feel alone. We've been looking for rentals for about 3 weeks now, viewing, applying, we're just having zero luck. But yet we are competing against 50, 60 people per house. And there's just nothing out there in our budget. Like, there's barely anything. And the conditions of some of these houses are disgusting. The prices of some of these houses, I don't even understand how they expect people to pay. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand. I mean, I have the same fear as everybody else. We're gonna end up in a bloody tent. The fucking stress and the depression is building. It almost feels like that they're trying to push the lower income people out on the street. Like, if you can't afford $600 minimum for a 4-bedroom house, you're fucked. Like, you're fucked.
I just got told that my rent is going up by $100 a week. I live alone and it already went up by $50 with what feels like it was 6 months ago, but I checked it wasn't, it was 12 months ago. And I basically have 2 weeks to figure out what I'm doing. And I just don't even know what to do. Like, obviously everyone is going through this rental crisis at the moment, but I don't understand. I swear only a few months ago they were complaining about how there's too many apartments in Brisbane, but yet why is there not one single fucking apartment for someone who just wants to live on their own and have a car park? Why is that so impossible? And like, I checked the average salary for Brisbane and my salary is a little bit higher than that. And even I can't find somewhere that's going to be even slightly livable after paying tax and HECS. Anyway, just wanted to see how we're all doing, if anyone else is in the same boat, because I'm so angry. I've lived here for 2 years in the same apartment and I love living here, and the thought of leaving is really depressing. So, cool.
The average price right now for a 2-bedroom apartment is about $2,000 to $2,500 if you want a 2-bedroom. Not particularly in downtown core, but around the GTA, it's about $2,000 to $2,500. Okay, that is not cheap. The rent is crazy in this city right now, and there's also a lot of competition. A lot of people moving to the city. There's a lot of competition. You're applying for a place like 500 other people probably applying to that same place, all right? So there's a shortage of housing in Toronto, which is a major problem that I feel like a lot of people are not addressing. And the government is talking about addressing it, but there's not enough fast solutions. So that is something that's currently going on in Toronto. There's a lot of homelessness. So a lot of people are unhoused right now, or they're like, you know, squatting, or they're sharing places with their friends. A lot of people are moving back to their parents' house. That's something you gotta know, okay, before you move to Canada, before you move to Toronto. Make sure you also are aware there's other provinces, okay?
In a while, the rent prices are so bad that genuinely where my brain goes is, oh, okay, but if I lock in a $2,400 one-bedroom apartment and I stay there for 30 years, in 30 years, when rent for a one-bedroom apartment is $35,000, all the young kids are gonna look at me and come to me on the street interviews and be like, how did you do it? How did you find a one-bedroom apartment in Toronto for $2,400? Tell us your secrets. That's where my brain goes, which is unwell.
Okay, so honestly, here's the guy. I went to go see an apartment the other day, and I'm a newcomer to Canada, so I went in. The apartment looked great, and I'm like, fantastic, and I'm like talking to the agents, and I'm like, hey, I just come here, blah, 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 and he was like, really? And I was like, yeah, I just got here, like, don't even have a job or credit or yet, you know, don't have any of that stuff set up yet. And he's just like, you don't have a job, you don't have credit? I was like, yeah, like, I just got here. And he's like, oh, okay, well, that's not a big problem. I mean, if you don't have a job and credit, then it's just going to be about 8 to 12 months rent up front. Is that okay with you? He was so funny. Like, I was like absolutely like keeling over laughing. Like, the 12 months rent up front? Are you joking me? This is a one-bedroom apartment. I just got here. I literally have $10,000 to my name, and 12 months rent up front would be, you know, this apartment is $2,500 a month. It would be more than literally all the money I have. But I'm just like in hysterics. Like we're just chatting about it, and he's like, you know what? You need to get the fuck out of my apartment. And I'm like, oh my god, like he was just so funny. Like he was just, you know, no, I'm serious. You know, you need to pay me 12 months rent up front, or I'm not going to give you the apartment. And I'm like, oh my god, like this is just like the sense of humor that I was looking for, like when I came to a new place and like didn't want to get taken advantage of. And he's like, you know, get the fuck out. I know we're on the other side of town, you have to get an Uber, and everybody needs to get the fuck out of here because like you're ridiculous. And I was like, oh my god, like this fucking guy had me on the spot.
Okay, this is how I know some people on here just don't have common sense. And no disrespect to Jeremy, but I'm just gonna keep it a buck. So here's some free advice to landlords. If you have a tenant that is paying rent on time, you have a good relationship with them, they're quiet, they don't make any fuss or fuss, why would you increase their rent by an absurd amount and force them out basically? Because you know they're gonna leave. That unit's gonna go back on the market. No one's gonna pay an extra $750 a month for a unit like that. So who knows how long it will sit there for. In Toronto now, there's the new vacancy tax. You're gonna be paying that. You have to pay a real estate agent to list it on MLS, find you a tenant. It just fiscally doesn't make any sense to increase it by that absurd amount. And who knows what kind of tenant you're gonna get next time. Like, yes, it does happen, but it's not a smart move. So the smartest thing to do as a landlord would be working with the tenant to come up to an agreed upon amount that works for both parties. Now, I'm not saying this doesn't happen, but it just is not a smart move for a landlord.
Those are just the prices you were planning on charging, and you're just phrasing it that way to try to make it seem like you're doing it when you're raising your rent by 45 freaking %. So now we're apartment hunting, and they're giving a whole lot that's even less expensive. But like, I just got a job, and now I'm moving to a different part of the city.
So my entire For You page at the moment is Australian rental crisis. Don't mind me, I'm just sitting here at the servo stress eating. It's made me think. Last year my rent was increased by $40 per week, which is completely fucking outrageous when all of the years that I'm a long-term renter, and all of the years before that, my only rental increase was by $10 after like 3 years in, and like, whatever, okay, $10, no big deal. $40? Not fucking cool. Another thing that I'm noticing on my For You page is people saying that basically the real estate agency Ray White are convincing their landlords to boot out all of their long-term renters and jack up the price of the rent. Guess who I rent with? They haven't been Ray White for that long though. They were an independent real estate and they've transitioned over to Ray White. And that scares the fuck out of me. You know what else scares the fuck out of me? The fact that as a long-term renter, my lease came up for renewal recently. I've signed it already, but it wasn't up for renewal until March anyway. They've only offered me 6 months. I'm a long-term renter. I've lived in this place for like 8 or 9 years. And now I'm only being offered 6 months? Like, this is gonna be a fucking joke. When my rent did go up by the $40 a week, we'll try to like do like a counter offer going, hey, maybe we can afford $25 a week, maybe even $30, $40 is ridiculous. And they're like, oh no, sorry, we're not gonna negotiate with you now because you took too long to get back to us. It's like, yeah, because I was literally crying for days, thinking I could potentially end up homeless because I'm not gonna be able to afford this increase. Like, what the actual fuck is going on? I used to look at real estate, like rentals around me, just like out of curiosity, see what's around, like, oh, maybe I'll move. Can't be fucking bothered to move. But anyway, I did that for the first time in a couple of years yesterday, and I was absolutely fucking blown away by what is available. Like, 1 room in a share house for the amount that I'm paying for my entire fucking 2-bedroom house with a study. For a fucking room in a share house, you have to be kidding me. What is going on?
Sometimes I get annoyed when I hear people say they want to move to London because there's more opportunity. The only opportunity you'll get here is to be broke.
The UK is finished. If you're currently living in the UK, you might want to reconsider because it's about to get a whole lot worse.
The UK just is not a dream country for us to live in anymore.
You, the average British person, have witnessed the greatest drop in living standards since records began.
My train in England has cost me double the price of my flight home from Morocco.
There's something wrong, isn't there? There's something wrong. Somebody please tell me. Somebody who has worked all their life, never had any benefit or anything, and I'm debating whether I can put my heating on my birthday.
Fucking food prices are absolutely ridiculous. House prices are ridiculous. You get taxed on fucking everything.
Yo, London, when will it stop? When will it stop? It is fucking expensive.
They're happy to give us loans, but no solutions. Interest rates, bills, taxes. The full system is designed to keep us in the system.
Prices keep rising, wages stay frozen, and somehow basic necessities feel like luxury items. People are cutting back, skipping essentials, and hoping things will improve. But let's be honest, it's not looking good. Stick around because we're breaking it all down.
Just another reason we're leaving this country. I'm using the income that I've paid tax on to buy fuel that I pay tax on, to put in a car that I pay tax on, to drive on a road that I pay tax on. I've had enough. Sydney. And I said Sydney, not Sydney.
The UK's gone crazy. When I first came here on a boat, things were beautiful. You know, I used to walk and you could see Freddos for 15p blooming in the aisles. Plastic bags were free. And everywhere was just so full of life. The birds were chirping and it was great. But now the UK's gone crazy. I had to pay 30p for a bag in Tesco's. 30p. And then when I asked for my receipt, 5p charge. To see what I fucking paid for, I had to pay 5p. And then I went to leave. The door wouldn't open. You know why? Because it cost 10p to leave. Don't let me get started on London. And I'm lucky I live in Newcastle. What has happened? Why is everything so priced? I went to McDonald's, sweet chili dip, 20p. Now 50p. I can only get 2 for £1 when I used to be able to get 5 for £1. I'm gonna go back on my boat and go back to Africa, because this shit is killing me, man. I can't afford nothing.
I'm sorry, I'm not ready for this UK life. I literally come back yesterday, slept after 30 hours of being awake. I'm dealing with jet lag, and I've just spent £37 in the supermarket on what? I bought some fish because it's Good Friday, some vegetables, some bread, some washing stuff. £37. I don't even shop in Waitrose, I shop in Lidl. That's 130 EC dollars. Nah, get me back to St Lucia.
My train in England has cost me double the price of my flight home from Morocco. Now, I am not usually using the trains in England because I just don't. But I'm on the Underground right now, and I'm never ever in London because, well, I can't stand London. So, but my flight home from Morocco today was 14 British pounds, and my train home from London to Bristol is 31 pounds. So over double the price of my flight home from Morocco. Just how crazy is that? The distance of how far I'm travelling in England is nothing. Bristol to London is like maybe 2 or 3 hours by the car, but flying from Morocco to London, it's like probably thousands and thousands of miles. So all of you people that say you want to come to London and see London and come to the UK, just let you know the UK is expensive. And now obviously everyone will say, oh yeah, but you earn more money. Yeah, we do all earn more money, but they obviously they like to take a lot of money off of us as well. So yeah, just if you're thinking of coming to the UK, do come and see it, but just be aware it is expensive.
Guys, I want to know when crisp packets became so small. What is that? My whole hand absorbs this. Like, it never used to be like that.
The UK is finished. If you're currently living in the UK, you might want to reconsider because it's about to get a whole lot worse. So this graph shows you the standard of living in the UK, and it predicts it over the next few years up until 2028. Just take a look at that. This massive drop after 2023 shows how bad it's gonna get. The standard of living in the UK is going down the drain. And take a look at this. If you wanted to rent a 1-bedroom flat in suburban London, not even in central London, it will cost you 2.2k per month. Honestly, how can anyone afford this? Because the average salary in the UK per year after tax is 28k. And if you're renting a 1-bedroom flat, you would only have £130 per month left over for everything else. So no wonder so many people are in debt. Taxes are likely to go up, inflation is at an all-time high, and rent prices are unaffordable. There are so many different countries around the world where you can have a good standard of living. So why would you choose to live in the UK? It's already the second most unequal country in the world. Because honestly, if you stay in the UK now, it's just gonna get so much worse. And yes, all countries do have their problems, but the way I see it, the UK is finished, and it's not getting better anytime soon. But let me know what you guys think in the comments, and if you like the video, follow for more content.
What is the real cost of living in London? We're here to find out. What do you both do and how much do you both earn?
So I am a marketing strategist, and I earn 42k.
And you are?
Sponsorship exec, 40k.
And how are you guys dealing with the cost of living in London?
I'm not dealing with it too well. I rob from shops, I skip the tube, I'm starving all of the time.
Who do you think's been most affected by this then?
Like normal people, like people that work jobs in pubs and stuff. Minimum wage workers, that their wages aren't necessarily going to go up relative to energy and rents and inflation. You have to have empathy for them. Like, it is tough, but I guess you just have to get through it and hope that it gets better.
What advice do you have for anyone that's kind of struggling with the cost of living right now? Any tips?
Shop in Aldi. Shop in Aldi, yeah. Stop going on dates.
Stop going on dates. That is a big one. That is a big one.
Yeah. Don't buy Tinder or Hinge or anything.
Just use the self-service checkout, but don't really scan it, you know what I mean?
I thought I'd come in here to have a bit of a rant. I feel like crap today, so crap, because the UK is just so bloody expensive. Like, Is anyone else noticing how expensive the UK is getting? Food is constantly expensive. We pay our taxes and they're constant. Like, I'm self-employed and I've just been on the phone to the tax office, and sometimes I feel like, what's the point in even working these days to just get by? It's just absolutely ridiculous. And I just feel like electricity, water, gas, luckily we're just electric, but still that's really expensive. Council tax. This country is too expensive. Too expensive.
Yo, London, when will it stop? When will it stop? It is fucking expensive. London is so expensive, I had to go into my savings to go to work. What the fuck is that? Man, I'm saving up to go to work. London, I don't know what type of limited edition Oliver Twist lifestyle you're selling to us, but we can't hack it. It's too much. London is so expensive that even nights in, if you stay at home, still costs you money. The other day I stayed in with my missus. I thought, yeah, let's have something to eat. Let's order Chinese. 50 fucking notes. What the hell is that? Whoa. Are you shipping it from China? What the hell are you doing? That Chinese was so expensive. I told her to put her clothes on that we're going out. Sometimes I get annoyed when I hear people say they want to move to London because there's more opportunity. The only opportunity you'll get here is to be broke. If you are looking for the opportunity to be broke, move to London. Come to London. For breakfast, they'll break you so fast, you'll be broken. That's how broke you'll be. The other day I was thirsty, man. I was in King's Cross. Bearing in mind I was in King's Cross. I quickly dashed into WH Smith to get myself a drink. I tapped my card, I left. I checked the Monzo, £3.95 for the Lucozade, blood. For a Lucozade. A small Lucozade. A small Lucozade. That Lucozade better be made with fresh glucose. Fresh fucking glucose, blood. Are you stupid? What kind of Jay-Z Lucozade are you selling me? Elon Musk Lucozade, blood? I just want to quench my thirst, blood. Man, I'm out here just selling billionaire replenishments. I can't do this, bro. I feel sorry for those who don't have a job. What have you got to do? Buy a job. It's so expensive, bruv. At this point, I can imagine London already charging you for working. Oh, wait. That's tax. Hey, you see already? London, I can't take it. London, man. London, open your yash, spray your yash, tear your yash, all day, just tearing people's yash, man. Fuck's sake, London, blood. It's wild, blood. It's if you won't make it, yeah, you won't make it. You never make it, fam. Fucking hell.
The UK just is not a dream country for us to live in anymore. You know, the weather is absolutely depressing. It brings down our moods. We're either workaholics who rarely have any free time, or we're tired and broke. You know, we are absolutely taxed on everything. Inflation is continually peaking, and, you know, most people can barely afford to live or pay their bills. The younger generation are going to find it so hard to get on the property ladder. I actually read a recent article about how a third of young people will never be able to afford to buy a home. You know, they're never going to be able to get onto that property ladder. How sad is that? And, you know, crime is at its absolute peak. There is drugs everywhere. And I want my daughter to feel safe where she's living. And generally, the quality of life is just getting worse. You know, 20 years ago, there were no waiting lists for anything. The quality of life has completely deteriorated. Oh, why else would you want to live in the UK? And these are just a few of the reasons why we want to...
Guys, honestly, I'm done with adulthood. I'm actually done with adulthood. Earlier today, I paid my rent, which is 1.2k. Okay? That already hurt my heart. Now, I was coming back into my house a bit ago, and I was like, you know what, let me check my letterbox, because you know what, it was my birthday recently, and you know what, I was being delusional for a second. I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll have a birthday card in there. Apparently, we don't do that anymore in this generation. You know, a text is all we get. But then I picked up some of my letters. I have another bill. The water bill is £168. Great. I thought, okay, you know, I can take that. Now, tell me why the electricity bill. Or I think this is the electricity and gas. Guys, honestly, I don't even know how it works. Who let me live by myself? £1,843.22p. How? I am one person living by myself. Half the time I'm not even home. But I don't understand, because here they've broken down my electricity usage and it's £229.
Now, I don't know if the rest of it is meant to be the gas, but I'm gonna call them tomorrow because the water bill, I can accept that. Like, okay, that sounds realistic. For 6 months, that's not even bad. This one, honestly, scrap everything I said about being independent. I'm done. I don't want to be independent. Do you know what? You want 6 meals a day? I'll give it to you. I'm tired. What is this? How am I supposed to afford to breathe?
If you are the average British person and you choose to stay in this country for the next 2 years, here's what's most likely going to happen. Your standard of living is not going to improve, your taxes may well go up, and you will continue to feel a squeeze to your finances. So here's a graph outlining this that was released after the budget today. To explain what this graph here means to you, it means that between the last general election and the one that's about to happen, you, the average British person, have witnessed the greatest drop in living standards since records began, since the 1950s. And this is the problem. People in this country don't realise how much better our standard of living could and should be. And highlighting this is not an anti-British statement. It's highlighting how this country has gone down the toilet and is going to stay in the toilet for a good few years, all thanks to these arseholes. And Labour are not going to be in a position where they can do a great deal about it. Our economic growth is predicted to grow slower than expected, inflation is set to remain stubborn, and the tax burden is still set to remain very high, so Labour will most likely increase taxes. The tax cuts announced today are a classic trap for the next government, and they're also not going to improve the average person's life. In real terms, we are still going to remain a country where the average person is feeling the squeeze. So I would still advise that you move somewhere else, because there are numerous countries that either have a higher standard of living or a better quality of life. And people will always say that whatever country you move to has got its own problems and that's why you shouldn't move there. Don't fall for this self-defeating, limiting belief. The grass is always greener argument is a generic and lazy argument normally made by people who don't have the bollocks to move abroad themselves. So they would rather try and prevent you from doing it and drag you down. Or they'd rather remain here living in ignorance, thinking that everything is okay without realising how much our standard of living has dropped compared to other comparable economies. Let those people remain ignorant and start looking on TikTok and YouTube at the amount of Brits who have moved abroad and are now raving about how much better their life is. There are always valid reasons why some people can't do it, but for the average person, you can. Don't let your mind be the obstacle in the way of you improving your life.
Over half the adults in the UK have less than £500 saved. This isn't just a personal problem, it's a national crisis. People are one paycheck away from being financially ruined. Rising costs, wages just flatlining or going up just a little bit but not in line with the cost of living. Zero financial education in schools or colleges. They've set the system up where it's basically very likely you're going to be in this scenario unless you should do something yourself about the situation. Think about it, if your car breaks or the boiler goes down, basically we're screwed, and nobody's teaching this. Nobody in schools anyways. The government aren't doing anything, they're not coming to save us. So basically it doesn't matter if you save £20 a month, £100 a month, just saving something in a separate account that isn't activated is going to grow for the rest of your life. Listen, I'm speaking from experience. I'm in a scenario now where I've got to take months and months off work. If I didn't have any money saved lying about in a bank account, which I've worked for, I've worked 80 hours, 100 hours a week before. I've worked to build up this emergency fund, and right now I'm going to be off work for months. So that's where that fund comes into place. If under £500 saved, I'd be absolutely screwed. I'd be selling my house. And it's definitely not too late to take control today and sort your future out with savings. If you've got no money to save whatsoever, look at getting a second job. Look at doing overtime at work until you get additional money set aside in a bank account, no matter how long it takes, especially if you're self-employed like me.
I just don't want to do this anymore. It's so cold in here, as you can see. I'm wrapped up in a duvet. My son's got like 3 different layers on, just try and stay warm because it's so cold in here.
Watching that woman's video broke my heart this morning. She said she had to choose between gas and electric, and she ended up choosing electric because she needed to cook for her children to eat, and that the gas, she couldn't afford it. So she was literally freezing and shaking in that video, as you can see. And people are going through a lot in the UK right now. It's not even a joke. It is not a joke, especially when you live in these old houses that were built ages ago. The insulation is bad. I remember when I moved to the UK, I lived in such a house, so renting a proper house was difficult. And Ariella was one, and my son, I was pregnant with my son then. I would hold Ariella shivering like this in front of the heater. The heater is on, but we are still shivering. It's not, the cold was too much. It's not like these houses where we live now. Like where I live now, these are one of the newer homes that have been built, well insulated. I use only electric in my house, and when I put on my electric heater, 1 hour, it can last me even the whole night. I don't sleep with heating. My kids sleep with heating. The other day I loaded £100 on my electric meter, and I had cooked that night. I did washing, and then I left my children's heater till morning. By morning, the money had dropped to £60. I was like, £40 in a day. How are people managing? If you live in Africa, now is the time to help your family that is abroad. If you change 90,000 naira or whatever it is, cedis or rand, and you send them £100 for them to use for their electric or gas bills, they will bless you and thank you. If you live in Africa and you are used to your family members sending you money and they cannot send for you this period, have some compassion. Now is the wrongest time to ask anybody that lives abroad for money. If you do it, you're a murderer. People are going through hell.
The proper thing about this, right? The UK government want us to stay poor. The system is rigged against us. About it, the cost of living, rising prices, wages stagnating, don't even get us started on the tax system. We work harder than ever and our pay packet doesn't seem to go further. I strongly believe we're in a working poverty right now. People work just to pay the bills, and some people can't even pay the bills when they're working full time. They're happy to give us loans, but no solutions. Interest rates, bills, taxes. The full system is designed to keep us in the system. It's not designed for us to live freely. It's a designed system right now where the middle class is getting squeezed out. If we don't push and learn our own financial education, nobody's going to teach us. The government aren't going to teach us. They're creating workers. School is just created for work. What can we do about this? Break the cycle. Start learning about where your money is going to. I know it sounds basic, but if you're going and spending money at Greggs, Costco, anything like that, look at how many times you're spending in places like that. Look at your bills, look at your direct debits. Because the truth is, the government isn't going to save us. They're not going to give us handouts. They're making it as hard as possible. Let's try and get out the system, but it all starts with getting 3 months living expenses in your bank. Doing nothing. Take control and break free from the system.
It's my birthday in about 3 hours, and I'm debating whether I can afford to put my heating on in the UK. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional now. It's 13.5 degrees in my front room, and all I can afford and all I've been living on for the last few months is a fan heater. There's something wrong, isn't there? There's something wrong. Somebody please tell me. Somebody who has worked all their life, never had any benefit or anything, and I'm debating whether I can put my heating on my birthday. It's no wonder people are leaving this country. Do you know, I don't know if I'm laughing at myself or if I'm just exasperated with this country. I just saw a statistic about a millionaire leaves the UK every 45 minutes. Now, I'm not a millionaire by any means, but I worked in the city for years, bought property and saved up and put money in a personal pension and all that. And then I fell really ill and I didn't qualify for anything from the state to help me because I got savings, because I'd been doing that. I'd been better off not working in the city and not earning anything, because if I was poor and didn't have any assets, then I could have lived on the state for the last 5 years, which would have equated to more than £100,000. But because I worked when I was young, I'm now 30 grand in debt. Does it make sense? Well, look, I'm sitting here absolutely freezing. I'm not kidding. My hands are so cold. I'm dictating everything anyway because I can't hear. I've got a hoodie on and I've got 3 layers underneath. I've got 2 pairs of socks on. I've even got a blanket on my knees, you know. That's how cold I am. And I'm sitting here debating whether I can afford to put the heating on. It's my birthday in about 3 hours. And I'm debating whether I can afford to put my heating on in the UK. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional now. It's 13.5 degrees in my front room. And all I can afford and all I've been living on for the last few months is a fan heater. There's something wrong, isn't there? There's something wrong. Somebody please tell me. Somebody who has worked all their life, never had any benefit or anything, and I'm debating whether I can put my heating on my birthday. I can't even watch that video back. I feel like I've done something so wrong. What have I done wrong that I can't afford to put heating on in the UK, in this country, when I've worked every single day since I came out of university? I worked in the city. I earned a lot of money. I supported my father and my brother completely when they had hard times. And now I can't afford to put my heating on. I didn't get 1 penny of COVID pay. I haven't had 1 penny of unemployment pay or benefit or anything. I had to go to the courts to get some PIP benefit. And I can't afford to put my heating on my birthday. I'm not sure whether I'll have the guts to share this, but I looked up the proper temperature and the Daily Mail said 19.5. The NHS says 18 degrees and says that you get problems with blood pressure and health problems below that. I've never been close to 18 degrees for the last 4 months in my house.
Get up. Okay, yeah, got it.
In this country, honestly, the fucking food prices are absolutely ridiculous.
Yes, it is, mate.
House prices are ridiculous. You get taxed on fucking everything.
Listen, get over here. I got something to tell you real quick.
I just wish I could sell up and just fuck. Do you know if I didn't have kids?
I'm coming, hold on.
If I didn't have kids, man, I'd be out of here. I'd be gone.
Is that mushy?
Like, I just don't see any benefits from living in the UK.
Even when I'm snacking, but I got something to tell you before I go.
What benefits do we actually fucking have? Like, we are literally surviving.
You can hear me?
Most people in the UK are earning what?
I want to tell you that the season of Rick and Morty is out. There was an episode that came out a week ago, and the next one's coming out tomorrow.
40k a year would have got you fucking loads of that gets you literally.
I saw the one that came out. That first one with the Matrix.
Holy shit, I love it.
Dude, that was that was awesome.
Yeah, man. Dude, Morty, like, being evil and shit, that shit was sick, man.
I'm sick of being lied to.
Oh my gosh, evil Morty bad.
Yeah, that shit was clean. I didn't really fuck with the summer thing. She kind of a little bitch, but it was alright. I liked her in the Matrix. She was sick.
Like when do you start fucking living?
I'm taking the next week.
You know?
I like that.
Fuck this country.
I like the whole concept of like he literally put them in the Matrix.
Yeah, he stole their fucking phone. No, he stole the phone charger.
That killed me.
You shouldn't be stealing phone chargers.
And he just
prices keep rising.
And he just doesn't care. He's like, yeah, sure, borrow my charger. And Morty's like, you need to give it back, right?
Right? Because I can't impress upon you, dude. I love the edits.
And then he just.
Practically
oh my gosh, the PTSD edits.
Yeah, I've been seeing so many edits of like Morty going fucking insanely, like fucking like batshit. Dude, when he said Osama bin Chargin, I actually like almost spilled my drink. Like when I was drinking I was eating some checkers, and then he goes, "Osama bin Chargin is dead," and I'm like, I actually spat it out.
Never seem to fix anything.
She was so funny.
Bartering for
Alright, I gotta go because I'm in a game and my friend's waiting on me. But like, it was fun talking to you, bro. I'll be seeing you tomorrow. I'll come back and talk to you about the new one.
Okay, I'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah, see you, bro.
And if you don't want to wake up one day needing a GoFundMe for rent,
Chris, you in here?
Hit subscribe, because staying informed.
My bank wasn't working. And then as soon as it starts working, I go into my account and Klarna got my money.
If you guys don't know what's going on, Klarna has been giving out money for free and nobody is paying it back.
Why the fuck didn't y'all pay back y'all Klarna debt? Am I the only one that's trying to keep them in business? Are y'all dead ass right now? Klarna about to... I am off, okay? Klarna?
Not Klarna going because y'all won't pay them back.
Loan company Klarna is reporting that they are suffering major losses due to cuts.
I've spent $32,196.23 on Affirm and Klarna since 2022. And the big question is, what did I purchase? If you are new here, hi, my name is Diva and I am $107,000 in debt.
How did she rack up 100K in debt?
And I am the Affirm and Klarna girl. Yep. When I started this journey, I had $9,500 in debt to Affirm and Klarna. I now have it under $3,000, and we are about to pay off 8 of those suckers next week. But what did I purchase? This is the question everybody always asks. Honestly, everything under this. I have done groceries. I have purchased concert tickets. What? I have purchased Airbnb. I have gotten my car fixed on Affirm and Klarna. All kinds of stuff. I think I've even gotten gift cards for random stuff. You can pretty much purchase anything you want almost on Affirm and Klarna. And I do get questions like Affirm. Yes, I have 12-month plans. I have not purchased on anything on Affirm probably since last February, so it's been almost a year, and a lot of these are finally coming to the end, but also I've paid off a lot. I literally had like 50 of these when I started this journey in May. It's crazy. It's insane. I know what I'm saying is insane.
Klarna is pretty much going bankrupt because no one is paying them back. Like, they have a record high number of users on the platform. They have 100 million users. But at the same time, no one is paying them back. So they literally reported $136 million of unpaid debt. Like $136 million that people are just not paying back, and they're just, you know, saying fuck it. And now Klarna is at a major loss. Even though they have a record high number of users on the platform, there's more users who are just not paying that shit back. And that's because you guys are letting people finance groceries and finance DoorDash orders. And I feel like people are seeing that and being like, well, actually, if I just do my biggest one right now and then not pay you guys back, I actually am just not gonna have to pay you guys back. And then I don't know how much people actually care about things affecting their credit. Like, I don't even think they're thinking like, oh yeah, like this is gonna affect whatever, blah, 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 blah. I just think people are like, whatever, I'm running off on the plug right now. Like, literally people are running off on the plug, dead ass, with Klarna. They said, actually, yeah, I agree to all your terms and uses and all that. And they get their loan of whatever and they say, yeah, but I'm not paying you back. And now Klarna is literally about to go bankrupt because, bitch, nobody is paying them back. And like, honestly, with inflation and how shit really set up, how is that gonna work anyway? You see what I mean? But anyway, oh well, Klarna.
Why I tried to, y'all, and tell me why I tried to move money into my savings account.
You guys are really not paying Klarna back. Like, so y'all are really buying shit and just dead ass saying, F it, I'm not gonna pay the balance back. Like, do y'all not worry about y'all credit scores? Like, I'm so confused because I be concerned. A bitch is concerned. 137 or 36, I think, million dollars that Klarna has not been paid back. And it's like, I saw this coming. As soon as they said that you could use Klarna for DoorDash, you could use Klarna for groceries, I was like, oh no. I'm like, y'all are giving these people an inch and they're gonna take a mile. I know what Klarna was trying to do, and I know it's because of how the economy is right now. So they're like, let's help these people out, but y'all can't help these people out. They're going to take advantage. People are really doing their big one, ordering, probably making a big ass order on DoorDash, big ass order of groceries, and they're like, all right, well, just gonna pay that like one, because you know with Klarna, like you pay that 1/4 of the payment, or you could like pay monthly. Like, they have different deals. So people are just paying that one payment and then like saying F it. Y'all, please don't ruin it for the rest of us. Please don't ruin it for the rest of us, because now, since y'all started acting up, I bet you Klarna's about to get so strict. Like, you're probably gonna have a perfect credit score to be able to use.
Y'all started in debt because it was a dumb idea from the beginning. We already got credit cards, and then y'all started allowing people to put credit cards on credit. Dumb. We are not in a generation of our parents where our parents felt the want and the need to pay any and every bill back on time, and if not on time, the next month. This generation right here don't care, all right? They will literally look at you in the face and said, you should have never gave me the money in the first place. And to make matters worse, y'all started accepting anything and everything. Groceries, clothing, plane tickets, and y'all was close to accepting mortgages.